Okay, great. So again, my name is Celso Alvarez. I am the Associate Vice President of Enrollment at Vaughn College. I am joined by some amazing folks who are doing some amazing work in the world of autism. So I'd like for you to introduce yourself, and I'm going to start with the person who I see first, and that is Hope. So Hope, if you can just unmute yourself and say what you do with the organization.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Hope Shaffian. I am one of the curriculum team and been working with this group for quite a while, developing the program. Very excited to talk about it tonight with you.
Samantha?
Hi, everyone. My name is Samantha. I'm the social emotional learning facilitator. So I'm part of the curriculum development team and also the admissions team. We've been working to develop this program and we're really excited to share it with you tonight.
Eleanor?
Hi, I'm Eleanor Bednarsh. I'm the Director of Programs for Spectrum Innovates. And I also work with admissions and a variety of other aspects of the program as a member of the Spectrum Innovates board.
Firas?
Hi, my name is Firas Achu, and I'm also on the admissions team and director at Spectrum Innovates.
And last but not least, Patrick.
Hey, Patrick Waters. I'm one of the director on the board of directors for Spectrum Innovates and part of the curriculum team.
Great, thank you so much, everyone. Tonight, we're hoping that you get some amazing information with regards to the Spectrum Innovates program. We're going to try to make this as informative as possible. I will begin with a short presentation regarding Vaughn and what Vaughn is about and who we are and how long we've been around. We'll show you a quick video and then we'll go into more details about the program. So if you just give me 1 second, I will share my screen. Can you see my screen? Yes, great. Okay, so again, welcome. As I mentioned before, Vaughn College of Aeronautics and Technology. Most of the folks who do know us as the College of Aeronautics, and we've been around for quite some time. We've been around since 1932, and we have been in our current location since 1940. We were actually started in Teterboro, New Jersey, with a school that was only for aviation maintenance. And as you see in the timeline, we've grown significantly. In 2007, more importantly, we created a residence hall. We built a residence hall, which allowed us to have students live on campus. Now, we're a very tight-knit community. We're very small. We sit on 6 acres. So our main building and our residence hall are about maybe 3 minutes apart in terms of walking. But we've done some tremendous expansions to our institution. As you see, in 2011, $26 million were invested in renovating our facility, and that's the picture you see on the far right on the top corner. Again, we continue to grow, and this is why we're actually having this info session tonight, because we've been able to partner with this amazing, with the amazing group Spectrum Innovates, and we're continuing to expand our portfolio of offerings. The value of Vaughn, we love diversity and inclusion. And as you can see here, we really truly focus on ensuring that every single student who sets foot on the campus has the opportunity to succeed. Now, most of the students do receive financial aid, but as you can see in the far right, where 88% of our students who graduate are employed within 1 year, and 75% are employed in their field of study. Now, these figures are during the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, we were at anywhere from 95 to 99, 98. So above the 90% mark. Small classroom sizes, 14:1. And of course, this is a very unique program that we're going to talk about tonight. So the classroom sizes may be a little bit smaller. But we've also managed to implement what was called the Vaughn guarantee, that we're so sure that the students who enroll at Vaughn, if they're not able to find a job within their field after 1 year of graduating, what we will do is that if they're required to take out a student loan, we will pay up to 1 year of their federal student loan. And as you can see, the different types of rankings that we've had here, we were ranked #1 in upper mobility by the New York Times in 2017. And then US News and World Reports has ranked us, of course, in the top 10 in social mobility and regional college in the North. And this is where I was mentioning about the Future Proof Guarantee Program. These are some of the degrees that we offer: engineering, technology, aviation, and management. Again, we offer a variety of programs in engineering and aviation, but I don't want to go too much into details of this program because, again, what we want to do is give you all the information with regard to the Spectrum Innovates. Something that will be discussed a little bit later is the ability to obtain 13 college credits through the Spectrum Innovates program and a fast track to Vaughn through the admissions process. So I will now stop sharing this presentation and I will present a small clip of what the program entails.
Spectrum Innovates Pathway Program. Making the move from high school to college or the workforce is the greatest challenge for autistics today. Dismal employment statistics reflect this reality. SIPP prepares students to succeed in higher STEM education and enter the workforce in advanced technician roles. SIPP merges the essential components of technical and academic learning while developing social, practical, and workforce skills necessary for the dynamic roles required in today's job market, a crucial step to sustained competitive employment and adult independence for autistics. SIPP is a prototypal, strengths-based transition pathway program for those on the autism spectrum who share a common passion for aviation, aerospace, engineering, and related fields. It fills a void in autism research through its commitment to translational research, collaboration, and sharing of outcomes. Course concepts and instruction are made relevant, absorbed, and reinforced through the Innovation Hub, a project-based, integrated counterpart to the classroom learning. Projects model real-world challenges, reinforce existing technical knowledge and social-emotional skills while fostering their further development. Designed as a bridge year to college or employment, SIPP students receive a certificate upon completion, including 13 college credits, and receive fast-track admission to Vaughn College of Aeronautics and Technology, our partner institution.
Thank you, Ferris. I apologize for that. I normally don't share videos. So my settings were not up to par. But again, thank you, Ferris. And if you have any questions, please, I ask that you place them in the chat. And at the end of the presentation, I will read off the questions and Eleanor will be kind enough to answer the questions. I would now like to turn it over to Ferris, who will take charge of the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Celso. At Spectrum Innovates, our mission is to maximize the potential of autistic individuals through innovative programs and initiatives. The goal of Spectrum Innovates Pathway Program, or SIPP as we call it, is to help prepare autistic students to enter higher education and careers in advanced technological fields. Vaughn College of Aeronautics and Technology is our partner institution. SIPP is designed as a bridge year to college or employment and is for individuals on Spectrum whose passions include aviation, aerospace, engineering, and related STEM fields. Today, those fields include disciplines such as analytics, UAVs or drones, animation and digital technology, coding, cybersecurity, mechatronics, and a variety of other high-growth, in-demand fields of work. SIPP is a 12-month program that begins with a 6-week orientation. The orientation is followed by 2 semesters where pre-calculus, a Canvas course, and English composition are taught. Semesters consist of 5 full days per week for 15 weeks. The program concludes with a 6-week residency experience and a final industry-related passion project. Within the coursework, students will extensively learn and utilize SOLIDWORKS, an industry standard CAD program, and become eligible to take the SOLIDWORKS certification exam. Students are taught by a co-teaching team of SIPP and Vaughn faculty and a fully supported cohort who share similar focused interests. SIPP is for autistics who have completed their requirements for high school or for those who may have previously tried college. A conscious decision was made to not require a high school diploma to allow students to continue any mandated support services and funding streams during their time in SIPP. SIPP students experience campus life while at Vaughn, and dorm accommodations are available for those outside of commuting range. Upon graduation from SIPP, students receive a certificate of completion, 13 college credits, and fast-track admission to Vaughn College and their numerous certificate and higher educational opportunities. I mentioned quite a few things that set us apart from other programs. The curriculum team is now going to go into more detail about what makes us different. Patrick, what is unique about SIPP's approach?
Thank you, Firas. What's really unique about our approach is the integration of a makerspace into teaching. So for those of you who don't know, makerspace is a place, I like to call it like a place with like a workbench for your dreams, but it's a space where a person can come in, join a community, learn how to use tools, and engage in projects that they're passionate about. Through this program, we specifically have like a journey that's planned out for our young people. We start off in the summer with a 6-week summer program, and the students get an introduction to the tools, the manufacturing processes that are used in those tools. They get introduced to computer-aided design, but the really big thing that they get introduced to is design-based thinking and the maker process. So in this process, you might master a small piece of like a small skill, and then you go and kind of explore how to apply that skill in all sorts of new and exciting ways. So we do this process throughout those 6 weeks, each time with a different tool or for example, maybe a computer programming. You learn a new technique, you kind of apply that, and you go through and eventually you grow from just applying a little skill and exploring those skills to getting them together in a really holistic way, in a real project-based, joyous way. It's a process that focuses on process over the outcome. It's a process that really celebrates continuous improvement and curiosity over being correct. And what this does when you are teaching and when you are working through a set of problems like how do I build a chassis for an autonomous car, a young person, any person really, but a young person learns to approach it from their strength and not just from a deficit that they might feel they have. So that's the really big piece of our program, is that we have integrated the students inside this makerspace. We call it the Innovation Hub. And then we go into the fall, where we've set up a number of challenges and a number of trainings to help them grow their skills and work with others in teams, present their work, get feedback on all these things in a way that's respectful and approachable, and something that you can grab onto and really push forward and be your best and authentic self. And what we've seen in our workshops and our previous iterations of these programs is that a young person really blossoms in this type of environment. And that works for young people on the spectrum, and that works for young people that are typically developing also. So it's a really great approach to integrating skills and projects into a person's academic world. We also have the ability in this program during that fall and spring semester to integrate the Vaughn coursework. And we've been working with our Vaughn faculty to work through the coursework that they have and really approach it from a model that'll work for the specific learners that we have in this program. So it's a really fun little process there. Sam, I was talking a little bit about the social emotional learning piece of it, but I didn't really go into detail. Could you do that for me?
Yeah, sure. So to start off about that, our motto is engaging strengths through passions. So what this means is that we really want to create opportunities for students to showcase their strengths with work that they're truly passionate about. So because of this, we decided to opt for a strength-based model with passion-driven cohorts. So that means our students will all share a passion or a special area of interest for aviation and engineering related subjects. So these shared passions then give them an opportunity for learning and as well as friendships and connections, which is really important, especially when you're transitioning to a college environment. That can be something really difficult for first-year students. So a little bit more about our model. It differs from traditionally deficit-based models of learning. So overall, really our goal is to teach our students how to navigate their academic work and their personal life as an authentic autistic adult on your self-defined terms. So this means that we're going to work with the students to identify their strengths, and then we're going to build on those strengths as they're learning them for the social emotional learning and life skills. And at the same time, we want to identify the growth areas and then kind of co-create a toolbox that promotes growth and learning. And we also want to approach the difficulties that come with autism, but from the perspective of making accommodations and modifications to the environment, along with creating like many daily opportunities to practice those SEL skills that then allow the students to flourish. So how we do this is, as Patrick mentioned, we're integrating the SEL component into every aspect of the program. So that means the fully developed curriculum, social emotional learning curriculum is fully integrated into all of their academic work and the Innovation Hub curriculum. So this allows us to have a comprehensive approach to the learner. So what that will look like on a day-to-day basis is there's going to be SEL facilitators with the students during their classes and the Innovation Hub time to support these skills as they're practicing them in real time. So they get feedback on it. You'll get feedback from your peers, and you'll actually get an opportunity to self-reflect on your skill growth. And then when you're in the academic component for the Vaughn classes, the Vaughn faculty has been trained to work with our students. And then taking a little bit of a different spin here. So I actually am autistic with ADHD. So I've created some of the social emotional learning curriculum from the perspective of somebody who has lived with autism, and then looking back on what it was like for me to navigate my own academics, and then also transitioning to college and the workforce. And then one last thing we want to highlight is why it's important to target these social emotional learning and life skills. So the jobs of today really require a lot of soft skills. And that's what it takes to maintain a job and be successful in the workforce. So we really want to prepare our students to enter these roles successfully. And not only that, but we want to give them explicit opportunities to build these support systems and life skills so that when they're ready to transition to the rest of their academic career and then the workforce, they have a whole toolbox and a whole system in place for them to then enter successfully into the next stage of life. And then Hope, can you tell us a little bit about the function of the Innovation Hub?
Sure. So the Innovation Hub is a place, Patrick described it well before, but it's a place where they will be engaged in project-based learning. So actually, you know, the act of making things, whether you're using your tools, you're using machinery, you're coding, you're building something, that act of engagement in learning just allows people to flourish and is such a wonderful environment for growing. You become the expert when you know something really well and you're the expert in the room and you get asked for help, or you collaborate with somebody, or you look to your right and you see some wonderful things and you get ideas there. So the function is really to create a community of learners working together. There'll be, as I said, the SEL part is really integrated in that. They'll have a little mini lesson, and then they engage, start, whatever the activity is. It might be learning how to code. We're going to be working with physical computing, so microcontrollers that will be turned into some robots or some wearable kind of stuff, whatever their interest is, but they'll be working with all this stuff. And then if whatever the topic was, we'll take a break for people to check in and see how they're doing with that skill for that moment. So it's a lot of collaboration with the adults working with the students, and the students together. I just also want to say something about a makerspace and working in this kind of environment and Patrick mentioned it, you're expected not to know, and you're expected to make mistakes. And that's where all the learning happens, is when you can, learn from your mistakes. I saw this acronym on the internet a couple of years ago. It's like fail. Everybody should be failing. It's a first attempt in learning. If you think about it like that, it just takes the whole sort of, it just opens you up more to just trying things, taking risks, and experimenting, and just learning from that, and doing the next, being smarter about your next sort of move and your next iteration. Okay, so who's next? Eleanor? Let me see.
So yeah, there's a couple of questions that are being posed on the chat. And Eleanor, I hope
Yes,
you can help me out with these questions.
by all means, they look great.
The first question is, can a student participate if he or she has yet to complete his high school diploma but is working towards a GED?
Wonderful question, and actually one that we, with all of the different variations of background preparation we've encountered so far, this is one that, it's the first time we're being asked, but the broad stroke answer is yes. And really anyone, you do need to meet the age requirement by the time of entry into the program of being 18. But if you have not yet received your GED, but you're working towards it, and you're interested in what you see and hear, I definitely encourage you to get in touch with us, and we'll have a conversation about where you are in your preparation, because we have a lot of flexibility and latitude around who gets admitted to the program. And truly the most important things are your passion for these areas, and really having a willingness to engage in the program. We have an internal assessment protocol that we use to match individuals to the program. So again, by all means, get in touch with us on our website, and we'll definitely chat.
Next question is this: is the 6 weeks orientation done online?
No. In fact, we postponed the opening of our program by a year because of COVID, because when it comes right down to it, we are a hands-on interactive immersion program that really, the learner really needs to be present and engaged in this process. Now, having said that, we've certainly taken into consideration and made accommodations in terms of groupings and numbers in the Innovation Hub at one time. Our enrollment has a minimum requirement of having 5 students and a maximum of 20. So that in itself allows us to be able to place students, more safely than might typically be the case. But now, again, we as a program, the components are on the Vaughn campus. However, pieces of, say, the pre-calc math program in the fall, or of some of our Canvas course throughout the year might certainly have online elements to them, but that would simply be in the context of moving the learning forward and not an exclusive application of that technology.
Great, thank you, Eleanor. Next question is, what's the teacher-to-student ratio? I guess you mentioned pretty much that there's about 5 to 20 max students per class. So
that's the number of students in the class, and then the minimum adult to student ratio would be 2 to 10 and then we'd go up to 3 to anything over 10 up to 20 adults working with the students.
perfect. And what are the hours every day, Monday through Fridays? If they're housing?
We are a 12-month, 5-day-a-week program. The mornings on Monday through Thursday are when the Vaughn academic classes would meet. There's pre-calc in the first half of our Canvas course. I'm going to ask, did we explain the Canvas course yet? Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute, but Canvas course runs for 2 semesters, fall and spring. So those academic classes take place in the morning, 4 days a week. And then also Monday through Thursday from approximately 12:30, 1 o'clock until 3:30-ish. Again, there's flexibility with the end time in the afternoon, but work takes place in the Innovation Hub. And and all day Friday, basically from 10 to 3 is Innovation Hub time. And the Innovation Hub, in addition to being the makerspace and the primary sort of heart of our program, also includes the Vaughn simulations for flight simulators, for so you can help me out. I'm all of a sudden drawing a blank on all those different labs and pieces that Vaughn has.
Robotics.
AV.
Right, okay. So, there are many other elements supported by Vaughn faculty as well who are working with us that comprise the Innovation Hub. So I think I answered the question before.
Yeah, one follow-up is there housing for students?
There is housing available. Vaughn has generously offered to share their housing with our program so that the program can be available to students basically around the world. And we have had inquiries from a variety of places across the country already. So I'm waiting for one from Great Britain because we've had some connections there. But yeah, we have housing, and that's done through Vaughn in their regular housing program.
And our housing facility is very modern. They're suite style, so very private. It's not a community setting, so that you have your own space. Very, very modern, and we do a very, very good job of making sure that it's up to date and Wi-Fi security 24 hours. So tip-top shape. Next question is, how does the grading system work through the class progress?
Oh, very important. We are a competency-based program. And essentially what that means is that for each area of study within the program, there are industry and Vaughn kind of mandated or worked through with our curriculum team what the requirements should be that a student demonstrates their competency in. And there's a wide variety of ways that a student may show that, either through project work or presentations. It might be through a written quiz as, you know, part of this process, but it's predominantly active demonstration of your skill set, building something, doing something, creating something. And that might be individually, it might be in teams, because collaboration is a competency in itself. And as each individual achieves competency in an area, you know, we have target benchmarks throughout the program for these achievements, but an individual is not bound to those as long as they've gotten their badges, which they receive, a virtual badge, electronic badge, for each competency area, and which collectively means that they have fulfilled the requirements of the course and therefore will be awarded their credits. So, Vaughn has a system already, because they have already some classes that have operated in a competency world, and those can be translated. Well, we're giving regular credits, but there is a translation of the value of a badge in relation to typical college credits. So we really think not only does this serve the learning styles and give a wider range to demonstrate your knowledge and ability, your skill sets, but it's also highly in demand from industry, that colleges of all kinds, neurotypicals, you know, as well, have this type of reporting system for their achievements. That's what industry wants. So we're very much aligned with what is current for grading and evaluation.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you, Eleanor. Maybe Ferris can help out with this question. What's the application process look like, and what's the cost of the program? Ferris, you there?
Mike.
I got it. Thanks. Yeah. So Spectrum Innovates Pathway Program. It's a limited access program with an additional process for admissions based on an assessment. So you fill out an application which spells out all the different documentation that you need to provide. And then there's an assessment that's done. So as Eleanor said, the minimum age is 18 and the maximum age is in the mid-20s. We don't have hard and set fast rules for who can be admitted and who is not, because every person, we treat them as an individual. They're looked at in a holistic fashion, and a determination is made whether that person is a good fit for the program, whether we think that they can succeed, because you know, our goal is mutual success. We're not successful until the student's successful. There's a whole list of requirements that are on the website. Things like you have to submit a 3-minute max video describing your desire to be a student in the program. You know, IEPs, documentation of psych ed evaluations, etc. And 2 letters of personal recommendation. If you want a list, I'm happy to send it. I'm happy to email it to you. The cost of the program is $53,000 for the full year. That includes the 13 college credits, all materials, health insurance as a student in Vaughn, and it's payable in 2 installments. I think that's it.
How is that funded? Is it any particular way that a student can fund that the program?
Yeah, we have applied to Access VR for vendor status, and we're waiting for them to tell us that we've been accepted as a vendor, and if that's the case, then they can underwrite some of the cost. If you have any funding streams that you are receiving now, because you haven't reached the the age, I'm drawing a blank, the 21 or 22
The
in New
age
York.
cutoff for your state.
Right. That may be a possible source of funding. We have a list of scholarships that you could apply to. And but we are a new program, so we're still developing additional funding sources for the program, as we're a nonprofit organization launching this program. And the more money we can raise, the lower we can make the tuition. And our goal is to have a sliding scale eventually, because we feel that everybody who is appropriate for the program should not be inhibited from attending because of financial reasons.
Thank you. So this question can be answered by either Eleanor or Sam. Is this program for low support individuals on the spectrum?
Go for it, Sam.
So, like we mentioned before, we really want to just talk to any students who are interested in aviation and engineering and going into this field. We do have our own assessment process, and the admissions process, we'll get to know each other pretty well. So I don't want to say that there's a cutoff for support needs. It's more on an individual basis, and we'd really like to just get to know you, what your support needs are, and just see if we can be a match and go from there.
Fantastic. Sam, then you can help me out with this one. Is what topics will be covered in social emotional learning?
So we have a huge range of topics, so I'll just touch on a few of them. But we're going to be talking about self-awareness of thoughts, feelings, behaviors, and values. Those are some of the biggest drivers of your social emotional experience. We're going to talk about autism from a neurodiversity affirming perspective. So managing your support needs, what's masking, what is unmasking, how does that lead to quality of life later on, managing your energy levels, other self-regulation strategies, communication, self-advocacy, relationship skills, and then a lot of executive functioning in real life. So executive functioning in your daily living skills, in your academic work, problem solving, planning, organizing your materials, organizing your schedules, getting started on tasks and sustaining tasks, and even more. So there's a really wide range of skills, but we also are going to take a look at what students need individually and make sure that we offer support in those areas.
Fantastic.
And I just, excuse me, I just want, that was brilliant description of it. And all of that gets applied in your last 6 weeks in the program, because students will live on campus in the Vaughn housing during those 6 weeks while they're working on their passion projects derived from the Canvas course. So go for it. Somebody describe, Patrick or Hope, the Canvas course, please.
I'll take on the Canvas course and talk about a little bit about kind of like the results that happen sometimes in the makerspace. So our Canvas course is a walkthrough, experiential learning through the variety of like specialties that Vaughn has, right? So we have units in robotics, units in drones, computer programming, CAD, 3D printing, all of these things. We do a little bit on like the manufacturing process during our first summer orientation, which is in person for 6 weeks in the summer. And then it culminates in this, the second summer, where you take the skills, the basic foundational skills, and which is not only just like, how do you make something with, for example, how do you make something with a plasma cutter, and how do you set something up and get it over to the plasma cutter and then assemble it, right? That's a skill. But there's also designing it. How do you come up with an idea? How do you take 12 ideas, chop them down to 2 ideas? How do you evaluate your 2 ideas? How do you talk to a group and get them to agree to one of your 2 ideas? These are all what we call executive functioning skills. And with young people on the spectrum, if you're autistic, you've probably seen that process can be tough to navigate. And what we do 1 of 2 things is, the makerspace does 2 things that I found when I teach in it and when I work in it, which is it lowers the bar of failure, right? In a normal everyday class, academic world, you might learn something, and then you have a summative test. And that test is what defines whether or not you learned something. But it's the only time you get to try it, right? It's the only time the only time you get to like do the high jump is on high jump day. That's not really how life works. What usually happens is you learn something small, you try something small, you get pretty good at that. You try something a little bit bigger, you try something a little bigger, you fail once or twice, you go back to trying something small, you try it a little different way, and you grow your support, you grow your skills organically. The makerspace allows that to happen in a way that is truly organic and truly student-centered. So I really love that part. That's what that Canvas course is, kind of the spot where you have the support backing of the makerspace to try the skills, and you also take a step into that academic world where you're going to have, a more traditional approach to education that you might see in a more typical academic environment. So we kind of try to bridge that gap, and that's how that makerspace can kind of back it up. We also have time in there for, any academic support, right? So a young person, we haven't really, I don't think we talked about this on our timeline, but your mornings start off with that academic class, whether it's pre-calculus, for example, in the fall, and the Canvas course in the fall, and then you go into the innovation center or innovation hub at that point in time, and you'll have that time to kind of decompress and talk to a faculty member, a coach, and say, hey, this is what I didn't understand in that class. Could you go over it with me? Let's find another person that's taking the class with you, go over it with them, get a little bit of that extra time. And then when you're ready, jump into a passion-driven project that gets you really excited to be there. Because that's the other part of it. Sometimes when you're in a class, even when you really, really, really enjoy the class, everybody's had a class where it just didn't work out for them. They liked the material, but they just couldn't bridge that gap. And the makerspace is a really great way to kind of like take that world of, practice and academic homework and apply it and with your hands in real life. And that seems to really get people excited and get young people excited about what they're doing, and allows them to develop those skills, real academic and real workforce skills, sustained focus, sustained good humor when something doesn't work right, all that type of stuff. It allows you to build those skills in a really organic way, and a way that allows you to apply it elsewhere. So one of the things that I was talking about earlier was like, some success stories. we've had a number of workshops that are through this program, week-long, 2-week-long type of things, and couple day workshops. And in these programs, you really see young people start to blossom. We get comments like, man, I've never thought this way before, which is often followed by, oh man, this is really tiring because I've never done it. It's like working on a new muscle, and they're trying to work out something, you know, you're trying to work out and it's the first day, leg day or whatever, and it hurts. And when I've been involved in makerspace education for about 15 years now. So I'm at the point where my first young people that I taught are now calling me back on Instagram, and they're talking about their new jobs. They're talking about their new babies. They're talking about their new families that they're growing, that they're building. So there's a real success with this model, that you can walk in and not be confident, not know, you know, where your place is in the world. And you find it with a tool in your hand. So that's what I really appreciate about the makerspace world and what it brings to the table in education.
That's great. That leads to the next question perfectly. Actually, I'm appreciating these questions that are coming in. So why a hands-on program, or hands-on learning, I would say, in an online world? Any hope?
Sure. We talked about it. I mean, you learn so much by doing something with your hands, with being around people who are working in the same area as you. It's you know, it really makes a big difference when you're in person or you're online. I'm involved in the summers in a teacher workshop for like a makerspace type of thing, programming, robotics. And we've run it for the last 2 years online. And we did it because we wanted to keep the program going, but it's not really the same. It's been limited. You miss out on the community aspect, which I said before. You really, you know, when you're making and building and learning together with other people, it's very social, you know. It's a much more meaningful and it's much better experience for your growth. I don't know if I covered everything I wanted to say about that, but we make do with the online world because we really had to, and some things are much better online, you know, than you know, being in person. I like parent conferences better online, but when you're learning, when you're in a classroom environment, there's nothing beats that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Just a couple of more questions. We're coming up to our 1 hour mark, but I just want to get these questions in before we close the meeting. Is housing included in the tuition?
I can speak to that.
Any of us can answer. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so there is a 6-week residency, part of the program at the end of the program, which is included in the tuition. But general residency for people who are not within commuting distance, that is extra. And I can send you information on that if you'd like. It's strictly Vaughn's, whatever Vaughn charges for their resident students.
Yeah, generally in the summer, there are different rates, especially for special programs. So Fears, the next question is, are you willing to work with parents who their children have aged out or haven't aged out from state funding? Does that kind of?
Yeah, we're willing to explore that. Absolutely.
Okay. And the final question is, how will students spend their additional time on campus, or will they be completely independent while they're here, if they're residing on campus?
Well, if they're what?
Living or residing on campus.
Oh, well, all of the students in our program, actually, whether they're residential or commuters, are have access to all Vaughn activities. And you, again, know those inside out, but, any club, anything that a Vaughn registered student has access to in terms of kind of extracurricular or co-curricular activities are available to our students too. So the experience would be very similar to what, Vaughn students are going through if you are living on campus.
Perfect. Anyone would care to share their information or their emails on the chat so that anyone who may wish to contact you can do so. I am going to post your website and some of the information that's there. So if anyone wants to go on, I'm sure folks have gone there, but just in case they may have missed it, I will post the information again on the chat.
Celso, I'm going to send a follow-up email to all the registrants with a link to the recording, and they'll have my email address and contact information. They can contact me.
Then that's perfect then. If we don't have any more questions, I really want to thank everyone for taking part in this event tonight. Absolutely amazing, informative information. If there are no more questions, I would like to end the recording and the meeting. If you want to make any final statements, please feel free to do so now.
Please get in touch with us. We'd love to talk to you more about the program and hear what you're up to and what you're hoping to do.
Absolutely. And we, again, we have an admissions requirement and a process, and the sooner you get your application in, the better, because we have to review these applications. We have an interview process, and if you want to come visit Vaughn and you want to come visit our labs, please get in contact with Ferris, and we will make sure that we will have you on campus so you can see our facilities, our amazing labs, and we'll be more than happy to tour you.
Thanks.
All right, everyone, stay safe and please be kind. Take care, everyone.
Thank you so much.
So much.
Thank you.